Hallelujah. Gracious Shabbat Yahweh. YHWH. Kadosh is your Hashem. Your Mekuf to come. Your will be done. In earth, our Yahweh. And the YHWH. Give us this day our daily lesson. Forgive us our debt, our Yahweh. And we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, our Yahweh. For yours is the Mekuf, the power, and the honor, our Yahweh. Forever, our Yahweh. So be it, our Yahweh. May it be fulfilled in the precious mighty name of YHWH, HaMashiach. And your Malak speak, our Yahweh. And give us the understanding, our Yahweh, of your image, your truth, our Yahweh. That, our Yahweh, your nation won't be overtaken, our Yahweh. But every doctrine of man, our Yahweh. But, our Yahweh, your image, your truth, being still within your nation, our Yahweh. To keep us on the straight and narrow way, our Yahweh. In the precious and mighty name of YHWH, HaMashiach, I pray. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
up the name of Yahweh our above. For all the mighty and great things he has done for YisraYah'ale. For he has awakened us on this Shabbat that we may bring an offering of praise, on fire, and bring before the feet of Yahweh our above. So as we enter YisraYah'ale at his presence in this, let us lift up our voices unto Yahweh. Yahweh is
Yahweh is the
Hallelujah.
Of yours to let YisraYah'ale scattered abroad. I want to testify before I began teaching. As we were singing, I said to my Abba, I am so glad of every experience in life you granted me. I am. No father, no. I'm glad of that. I rejoice in all of that. I hold no Adam against no one at all. But I'm glad He brought me to those I recall they wanted to send me back in those days to a school. There were not many children with special abilities and talents. And for some reason, Yah had given me and placed upon me a small, insurmountable knowledge of matters. And I said, I don't want to go anywhere like that. You're going to be around the hoity-toity rich folks and kids. I come from a poor family. My mother has nothing. So I'm glad that I was not engaged in a society like that. I'm glad that I grew up around the kind like me. Yeah. The poor and the nobodies of the world. I like that. So I have no remorse today for any factor in my life. I'm happy. Yeah. There is nothing in this world, nothing, that can take that away. I'm delighted, I'm happy. Then do I'm alive, that's important to me, I can live. And so I'm very happy. You can be all miserable all you want to, it means nothing to me. But I shall delight in the abundance of His riches and His blessings in YHWH. I want to teach today emphatically. There will be no trepidation, fear, some kind of assault, persecution for what I will teach. There are things that we have heard in our lives and we have retained them. It doesn't mean that it is true. And so I am going to teach part one of this platform, this virgin birth. We'll get into the details of that later on. This hoax, this falsified information of lies. What is the truth? And so I will deal with the extremity of what is the truth. If it's a lie, the Torah will debunk it. If it's the truth, you're not going to get wisdom out of reading a verse. You're not that smart, any of us. You must have the preponderance of evidence to prove all things. And so this virgin birth, based upon the foundation and principles of lies, or a simple truth. Is it the truth, or is it a lie? How do we go about finding that out? It is one thing, the stupidity of us as a nation. I recall that we were singing the song, How Awesome Yah Is. And I'm a student of not intellectual knowledge, but just the simplicity and understanding of matters to reveal the volume of my ignorance. You're too full of pride to say that. And any man that loves to be corrected, he will come to the path of Sadiq. Anytime a man or a woman doesn't like Musa of Yah, you're going to find a blatant fool. That's just the fact of the matter. They will not hear. I'm saying this to say that that concept is either a twisted lie that has been harbored in a religious format, or it is the truth that must be explained. When I awakened this morning, the alarm clock at 5, I enjoyed the wonderful rest last night. I came outside to see the evidence of life and beauty of Yah, of His creation. It made me ponder some things this morning. Even concerning this birth, the Virgin. And so I look at the magnificence of Yah's creation, or a creation. Now He is the one that through the power of His Nabarim, the words that when He spoke to the waters when they came up from the earth, He gave them a law of commands. He drew the line in the sand. This is as far as you go. You don't encroach beyond this unless I command you. And I will begin my ruckus in the middle of the ocean, and the tsunami shall rise to overtake the wickedness of man, his corruption. So in all of that, I looked at some things this morning that were things that I learned in my segregated school in the 7th, 8th grade, that I retain them so vividly now. And so if we believe that this was some form of creation, or it is the Big Bang Theory, or there is some form of evolution, how did it evolve? What is the core substance of this thing we call earth, man, and any kind of beast kind? What is it? And so when you look at the heavens and see the vastness, the massiveness of Yah's creation, this had to come by some intelligent form. It did not evolve from a microscopic amigo that no eyes could see but Yah. And that's a fact. So if I believe that He created trees and birds and all of that, what is the difficulty in believing that there was one that Yah ordained from the beginning? You must understand, I will prove all of that. Hallelujah. Not some far-fetched verse that I incorporate into this teaching, but I will prove every component of this verse. But before I begin, I want you to think of this. I looked this morning on the Google search for the word science or scientific proof of matters. I found 352 million results that deals with the application of science, the perspectives of science. 352 million results. I went a little farther. I wanted to know how many stars, and these are calculation by man. But that thing that they call the Hubble telescope, it will find a gnat if it's on the moon. That's a fact. And so through the correlation of our heavens that within the context of this universe, there are, as far as results I wanted to find, there are 169,900,000 documents on Google that you can search. You can find out the names of stars that even man has rendered. But Yah gives those stars a name that He purposely does for our understanding. All right? So I looked up this one thing to kind of see feast days of Yah. There were 19,100,000 results. Confusing, crazy. Well, that's not all. I know the speed of sound. The speed of sound is actually around 680 miles an hour. That's the speed of sound. Even faster than that. So something like that flew past you, you could never see it. That's Mach 1. And so you do the multiples of around Mach 4, Mach 5. I said, yeah, some of the fighters just fly over here. The only thing you hear is a noise. You couldn't see anything. That's the speed of sound. You can't see that. It's going. That's how fast sound moves. That's just sound. Everyone buys into those calculations and all. And so as a young lad, I learned in the segregated schools, that's what science taught me, that the sun was 92 point, in our days, they rounded off 92 million miles from the earth. So I know I can see 92 million miles. My visual can project, or my receptacles or my visions can see up to 92 million miles. We learned that in school, that the sun's distance from the earth was 92 million miles. In those days, they taught us that the sun was a star. It was the closest star to the earth. That's what they taught us. But yet science has debunked that and created their own dynamics of the sun and the moon. Also, when I was in my segregated school, they taught us then that the moon was 235,000 miles away from the earth. I know of a certain, because as we, with observation of the moon last night, the children stood on the fence and watched the beauty of it. I know I can see at least 235,000. These are the brilliant minds of the earth. These are the brilliant minds that interpret Torah and gives us the reasons behind our own corruption and our wickedness. And I went a little farther to understand the speed of light. Light travels, as I was taught in my school, it travels at 286,000 miles per hour. I will never forget, because the teachers, or Mr. Freeman was my science teacher, they would emphasize how long it would take to get from the earth to the sun. And the numbers back then, you just can't forget them. It would take 300, traveling at the speed of light, 286,000 miles an hour. It would take 355 plus years. And I will always ponder that, how you will never get there. No one can get there, but there's a concept that this book we call the Biblos, the Bible, the Torah, that he is the one that created all of that, so magnificent. Beyond the conception of a man's mind ability, I can't even fathom 286,000 miles. I can't even fathom 92 million miles. How do you even do that? It would take you your lifetime, your lifetime, your lifetime, your life, your and mine. Even travel if we had a vehicle that could take us that far to get to the sun. These are all the things. Man says that there is a creator. He created them all. But there is one stipulation. He made the galaxies of the stars. But to bring forth a birth out of the womb without any kind of copulation at all, that all things that Yah created, they were birthed out of his mouth. It was birthed by the living Torah. Everything that he spoke, it came in existence. I want to read a little scientific information. Is that all right? Then I will get into the crux of this teaching. I'm doing this to show us the dynamic system of Yah, how awesome he is. It's a small thing for Yah to bring forth one birth out of the loins that have never engaged in any kind of activities. It is not even something that you reason within our stupid minds. This fallacy of lies, those that identify as Hebrew Israelites, that came out of one West, that sprung from ICUP. These are the Trolls and the Trojans and the warriors of lies. They mock the birth of Yeshua. These are twisted dogs birthed out of hell. And that's a fact. Now, I want y'all to monitor. I don't want Mama to get too cold back there, all right? Let's make sure, right? I don't want them to get cold, all right? I'll be all right. I don't want them freezing in here, okay? Let's make sure. Is that one on? What about that one back there? It's on? We'll turn those two on. It's all right. It's nice outside. All right? He's all right. He gets a little warm, he come up here. All right. Hallelujah. I want to read some information to us. It says, look up into the night sky. It is challenging enough for an amateur astronomer to count the number of naked eye stars that are visible. That's why this metonic cycle of interpolations, adding days and months to years, it is a lie. Because Mr. Melton was a liar. This is what scientists say. This is what the Hubble telescope will teach us. It says with bigger telescopes, more stars have become visible, making counting impossible because of the amount of time it would take. There are so many stars, you can't count them. So how do an astronomer figure out how many stars are in the universe? That was the question that I proposed. How many stars in this universe? We're not even talking about the galaxy or not. We're just talking about the universe. How many stars? It says this, the first sticky part is trying to define what is universe, what it means. This is by David Cornish with a K. an assistant professor at Ithaca College in New York State. He was the founder of Ask an Astronomer service at Cornell University. If any of you all know anything about colleges, Cornell is one of what they call the Ivy League. That's one of the Ivy League, one of the most prestigious universities in America. That's where all of your Nobel laureates come from, that pedigree of schools. They tend to come from the Ivy League schools, or they're powerful schools that were established by Jews for their sons and their daughters, that particularly with the science and the finances and things like that. The scientist says, I don't know the answer because I don't know if the universe is infinite, large or not. I don't know how big it is. We don't even know what we're looking at when we look up. He says, beyond the ability to measure in volume and space. We think that Yah's refined to space. Do we actually think that he is refined to a certain limited source of space? He made man.
Hallelujah.
And he made the organs to produce, reproduce, to create. He did that.
Hallelujah.
And he did it by one medical process. And that is his dabarim. He spoke it.
Hallelujah.
These are stupid clowns of jackasses out here today.
Yes.
He spoke it. He spoke it.
Yes.
He did not have to connect the big bone with the little bone and the finger bone. He spoke it. He made her out of the rear of man. He said the observable universe appears to go back in time about 13 million years. I'll utilize that for the significance of the great creative power of Yah. So they are saying that with the use of this telescope called the Hubble telescope, it can see beyond time. It can see beyond what any visual could ever see. It sees beyond even that. That there is no limit, space, whereby it is confined to. It goes beyond the universe. It goes out into the galactic and look at things that they didn't even know. And this is 24/7, 365 a year. That's what they do. He says, but beyond what we could see there could be much, much more. He did not say much more. He said it could be beyond the ability to comprehend. Some astronomers also think that we live in a multi-universe where there would be other universes like ours contained in some sort of large entity. That we're within the confines of the spirit we know as a universe, but there could be others. There could be thousands like this. Yah is not limited.
Hallelujah.
He is unlimited.
Yeah.
And when he can speak his words and create something, and let us utilize the scientific effort. 93 million miles away, yet the warmth and the growth of all of that produce. Yet you cannot utilize the significance of the sun without the moon. And the same way with the moon, the stars and all. But they never interject themselves into the command of Yah as to oppose him. I want to show something.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my time. I'm going to begin this. This is our problem. We like to rush through things. You ever try to cook and rush through it? It doesn't turn out well, does it? It doesn't turn out well. Have you ever tried to study for a test and not take your time and try to do a cram session? There's nothing more horrendous than that. You forgot more than you crammed.
Hallelujah.
But it's an easier process You learn, you know what you have to learn. You learn a little each day. And then at the time of the test, you just go and take the resources and remind yourself you already know that. And this is what science says. They identifies a date, October the 16th. There was an article in Science based on the deep field images of the Hubble telescope. So what this article deduced was the powerful vision of this telescope that sees beyond the ability that men could ever see in the visual aspect. Suggests that there are about 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe, or about 10 times more galaxies than previously suggested. We don't know the limit. Yah has no limitations. And we got to be a stupid people to think that this is just his creation. He created it all. Yeah. I know one thing, that this, he created the Melachim, but this is the only thing that he breathed his breath of life. Yeah. This people is the only one, or any kind, that he chose to give them instructions and a law that will be fulfilled in this form of purity in Yahshua, whereby we live by. Yeah. No other kind. Didn't do with the Melachim. Those that sin, he cast them out. Hallelujah. Yet as much as we sin, he gives us reprievals. He said, come on back. There's nothing like a dirty whore. And that's what we have become, a dirty, filthy, sluttish whore. Knowing that you got someone kind to you, you're going to abuse him. Yes. I've seen men go beyond the spectrum of their wives, those that they engage with or entertain. They would treat them like a pile of hogs, bush. And because of their sensitivity, they believed they cared. She could do no wrong. None whatsoever. But even Yah comes to a point where there is no reconciliation. And that's a fact. You can keep doing your wicked stuff and think you're getting by, but you're not, all right? Yeah. But this is what they learned from the Hubble telescope. I remember when they built that. Suggests that there are about 2 trillion galaxies. How do you even suggest that? What do you size up as a galaxy? The space of Yah's not, there is no limitation, it's beyond unlimited. Just like our minds. Our minds can learn every single day. Why? Because there's a likeness in us, like him. Hallelujah. There's a likeness, there's a similitude in him. He is, and we are. And if we live for 100 million years, we will learn something new every day. And that's a fact. It says this, there are 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe, or as many as 10 times more galaxies than previously suggested. So long digital sky survey, which catalogs all the observable objects in the third of the heavens. I know that Yah talks about the second, but they're talking about there's a third heaven. Found about 48 million stars, roughly half of what the astronomers expected to see. Missions such as Gaia mission, European Space Agency space probe and launch in 2013, may provide for the answers. Gaia aimed to precisely map out about 1 billion stars in the Milky Way. Gaia will monitor each of its 1 billion targeted stars. Listen, you can't do this with a natural mind. They're going to target and monitor those stars 70 times. Each star 70 times in a 5-year period of time. How do you do that? It's impossible. There's an intelligence that is beyond pseudo-official. It's beyond that. Computers are intelligence beyond pseudo-official. There is no emotion, there is no conceptualizing. That's why we see today people, their minds are not even developed. Their minds are underdeveloped because that's all they know. Period. They have no sense of emotions and touch. It takes all of that from you. That's a fact. Because you love that. And you can sit down with that for hours and play with it and love it. They're beyond that. They don't know how to, they don't even know how to have attachments. Any kind of social activity. They want to get back and sit down with the one they love, the computer. I know what I'm saying. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. And don't even respond to me like I'm stupid. I was not born yesterday. It's not real. "70 times during a 5-year period of time." Precisely. There's no fluctuation. There's no chance that they would not put it in its proper position. Precisely charting their position, every position, their distance, their movement, and change in brightness. There is no way that any man with visual eyes, and during a time when you did not have the illumination of superficial light that we're under in here, can sit down under the heavens and chart out 500 or 600 stars and identify them every night. It's impossible. Man is just coming to that arena whereby he can, and he doesn't even know what he sees, and is beyond his ability to comprehend. Why am I injecting this in the beginning? I know that we are people that love to eat the ice cream first. One of his children said to me that he said to them, "Why are you bringing the ice cream up so early? You bring that up last." And I believe it was him, and he was happy as a forward lily pad, like, "No, bring the ice cream on up. I want that. I can pace through the other stuff with a hurrying appetite, but this is what I want. I want this. Now, I know the hamburgers are nice, but no, I want this. I don't want to eat too much of this, I want this." And that's the way we are.
Yes.
That's the way we are.
True. Yes.
We don't want to take time because he needs the hamburger and the proteins and all of that. He doesn't need the sugar. But this is what builds his body. Sugar destroys one's body. I'm using that as an example. And so we are people that rush through things when it comes to Yah. We don't want to hear it. Listen, I'm saying to you that are listening, you can sit all damn day, 5, 6 hours at a computer, and you don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep on me. I don't care who you are. You stay awake. Keep your eyes open. Now watch everyone's face. So I'm looking at you. I don't care who you are. Stay awake. Period. It says missions such as this one called Gaia mission, a European space agency, the probe that they began in 2013, they may provide further answers. Gaia adds to a precise map. Wow. There's only one precise map. There's only one map that is so precise, and the precision is not off 1 trillion, 100 trillion, septrillion off second. And that is the book that you embrace, you hold fast to.
Hallelujah.
It is precise. That's the only precise thing we have in this life. is precisely maps about 1 billion stars in the Milky Way. Gaia will monitor each of its 1 billion stars and this 70 times a year and precisely position them, the distance, the coloration, the amp of their light. This is the corrupt mind of man. Y'all put them there to say, don't mess with that. He put the skies above us and say, don't become consumed with any of that. I put this here to show you what is a day, a solar day, or time to measure. And I put that other thing that it's close to you, that gives you seasons and times and let you know. That's what he did. It says this, that galaxies, those vast collection of stars, they are populated, that populate our universe. So within the universe there are galaxies, that there are millions and millions of stars. How do you identify one? You cannot, even with your visual eyes, if you go out and look at a starlit night and that pattern, look at all the stars, say, I see that star, and although it burns bright, you take your eyes over there, you cannot, you don't even know what the star is, because they all look the same, they all look big. And for anyone to say you can, and y'all gave us that in the sense that this is the mechanism to understand seasons and times, you're a liar. That's a different teaching, but you are a flat out dirty liar. I don't care who you are. Yeah. Hallelujah. This is what this article says from Gaia concerning the galaxy. Counting them seem like an impossible task. Sheer numbers is one problem. Once the count gets into the billions, it takes a while to do the addition. Another problem is the limitation of instruments. Even with the Hubble telescope, you cannot count the stars. Even with our visual eyes, we cannot gaze the heavens and tell us like a metonic cycle, and tells us that these stars are within these locations. You don't know that. You are stupid. The moon never loses location, nor the sun. What he has written, what he has proclaimed for us, it is the truth. I'm not going to tell you to bear with me. I want to teach us this format to show us how awesome Yah is, how even his creation baffled the mind of man. Yes. And to bring forth one out, a birth that has no kind of entertainment. You think that's impossible? But there's one thing about Yah. He must have a type and a kind. He had to do it before. I will prove all things. Was Yahushua the first one? He had to do it before. We'll get to that. I know what I'm saying, all right? Hallelujah. Conrad used a very rough estimation of 10 trillion galaxies in the universe. Multiply that by the Milky Way's estimated 10 billion stars. I'm sorry, forgive me. 100 billion stars. And on a purely starlit night, you could find a place whereby you can go when there is no atmosphere full of this illumination. You will see hundreds of thousands of stars. And if you lose your eyes on one here right in front of you, look there, you cannot be focused. You will never find it. Science and their most powerful telescopes tell you that. You cannot. And this is a large number indeed. So he gives us an example of how many stars. He said you put the number 1, 24 zeros after it. It is 1 septillion in our language. I have all the numbers as far as you can count. And if you don't get that, I should print them out for the children in school, a chart. I like to look at it and see the numerics of numbers. So if the numerics of number has no end, you think that Yah has a limitation? This is so stupid. He did not do anything to make you concur or agree. He did something that was outside of the realm of your logic and your stupidity. He did that to show us how great and magnificent He is. And for you to deny the birth of Yeshua the way that Yah says it came, then you're nothing but a child of hell. You're a devil. You're a twisted devil. That's what you are. You're the devil. You're a child of hell. You're the seed of the enemy. I'll debate any of you on that. It is 1 septillion number, 1 quadrillion in the European system. He also emphasized that numbers is likely a gross underestimation. There's no number that you can calculate, yeah. And to put life in one and bring it forth at 9 months, you are stupid to think that that is impossible. They grow hands and organs from just cellular structure. This is what wicked man is doing. And you tell me Yah has a limitation? You are a stupid fool. I'll bring it out. I wanted to read that to show you the excellence of Yah. There are those that will observe the heavens and the stars. It's wrong. He placed the thing we call the Shemesh, the moon, to identify the times and the season. I want to read 2 things in the book of Jubilees or Jubilees. Listen, I want you to hear it. And I'll tell you where I read from, and you can read the entire chapters. This is the time of Noah. And as the earth, they began to refurbish. It tells us in the 29th Jubilee, in the first week, in the beginning thereof of Akapachad, took to himself a wife, and her name was Rashulia. She was the daughter of Susan, and the daughter of Elam. And she bare him a son in the 3rd year in that week, and she called his name Canaan. And the son grew, and his father taught him writings, and he went to seek for himself a place where he might seize for himself a city named after him. And then in the process of that, he found things that was even before him, before Noah's time. It says that he found a writing which former generations had carved on the rock. And he read what was thereon, and he transcribed it. And then this is what he did. And the Torah says, and he sinned, owning it. He sinned. Because he said, look what I've done. Look what I've contrived. For it contained the teaching of the watchers, in accordance with which they used, listen, they used that to observe the omen of the sun, of the moon and the stars, and all signs in heaven. You'll get that? Yes. They use that to observe this placing of stars, to understand what was coming next. And he wrote it down and said nothing regarding it, for he was afraid to speak to Noah about it, lest he should be angry on the account of it. He said, I know if I talk about this, I'm in trouble, because I have sinned. And he's wise, and he understands that. This translates to our forefather, Abraham. Let me read this same in the book of Jubilees. You are there, I'm not looking for no stars. Yeah. I'm not looking for the moon. I wait until that period of time when that bright light, that when it is brought down to 3% what we can see? And no, it's Yah's time.
Yeah.
Look at this now. I just read for you all Jubilees. Read the entire chapter 8. It is probably best to go back to chapter 7 to understand the contextual flow of what is written. Jubilees 8. Again from the book of Jubilees. This is when Abram destroyed the gods of Terah, his father. He gives us a precise timing. He said, and in the 6th week and the 5th year thereof, Abram sit up throughout the night. He sit throughout the whole night. On the new moon of the 7th month. He knew. He said the whole night. I want to see that. And he watched to observe the stars from the evening to the morning. Well, we should observe the stars. That's what many will say. But he observed the stars. That's what it says, right? Correct. And in order to see what would be it uses the word character of the year with regard to the rain, that he studied those things to see what it would produce and what he knows that are coming. And he was along as he sat and observed. These are the words that came from Yah, that spoke so profoundly with Abram. He says, and a word came into his heart, and he said, all the signs of the stars, you'll hear that, and all the signs of the moon, and all the signs of the sun, they are all in the hand of Almighty Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Then he asked the question, why do I search them out? Why do we search out the stars? And why do we search out the sun? Why do we search? No, he told us to observe the moon for that time. And there are men that are wise enough to know that there is a calculated position with Yah. It's going to come the same time. It's going to come within the interval of days. He said, why do I search them out? If he desired, he caused it to rain morning and evening. If he desired, he would hold it. And all these things are in his hands. Everything is in his hand. So if he makes it rain, can he put birth in one? Can he take a man that has no life to produce in him and cause him to produce? This is a stupid world. I'm telling you how ignorant it is. And it doesn't take much to persuade people. We buy the lies. We believe them. I don't buy them. Yeah. I don't buy their lies. That's why it's just us for you today. Yeah. You understand? There are many like you. There are many out there. But there are not many like me. There are those out there that are of greater wisdom than me. But they're in a position just like you and me today. That's a fact. Nobody's going to strengthen their hands. Nobody. And then he goes on to say, and he prayed that night and said, he called him Odon, my sovereign master Yahweh, the Most High, you alone. You are my sovereign ruler, and you and your dominance and your domination have I chosen. And you have created all things. Did he create the moon?
Yes.
Did he create the stars?
Yes.
Stars. Did he create the universe?
Yes.
You tell me he can't create life in a womb? You are fools.
Hallelujah.
You are flat out fools. Well, how do you reason with it? How do you reason that that thing that is 92 million miles away? How do you reason that? How do you reason that? One that even at scientists' estimation, the amount of stars in the trillions, they can't even count them. If one can do that, you tell me he cannot put a child in the womb? You are some stupid people. Yes. You want to listen to things that will not offend your sins. And they like groups like that because they don't deal with the wickedness of them. Oh, they told them, you're Hebrew Israelite. And all of you going into the kingdom, you are a damnable liar. They all did not go into the promised land. You are a wicked liar. And with all of the roadblocks of Yah, he still did not eradicate that corruption out of the heart of a people of his election. And that's a fact.
Yeah.
He said, you are the one that have dominion, that I have chosen. You created all things, and all things that are the works of your hand. He said, deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have dominion over the thoughts of a man's heart. Your evil doesn't come from someone else.
True.
It is the evil spirit that has dominion over the thoughts of your mind.
Yes.
You think evil like that because your thoughts make you think evil. You can't blame nobody for your evil ways,
True. Yeah.
your evil lies, your corrupt doing. Over man's heart, he said, let them not lead me astray from you. There are many that have been led astray. They have become scientifically sound. They know everything about the metonic cycle or the intercalary. That's not so. You don't get that kind of knowledge by reading. You got to study and learn. And I've got enough material just on this alone to write 3 books. From the scholars of the world, their scholarship, above all from Torah. He said, my sovereign master, and you have established me and my seed forever, that we go not astray, and from henceforth forevermore. That we should not go astray. That's found in Jubilees and YHWH chapter 12. Read the entire chapter. Now you see what Yah says about the study of stars when Abraham says, it's crazy. Now we are out spending valuable time on this. When all things in the hands of Yah. He ordained the course. There are people that buy their concept, but they can't tell you the course of one star, or the course of the moon, or the degree. They can't tell you nothing about the sun. Nothing. Science taught me that the earth evolved around the moon, but that's a lie. And this is the centrality of Yah's creation. And he keeps his honor sitting right there all the time. And he makes the moon and the sun, just like they did with you, say, bow down before the earth. That's a fact. And I had one who wanted to debate me on that. I say, let's get it on. But he was a coward. He couldn't debate. Well, you shouldn't debate. You're silly now. I got a teaching on that. Well, I can show you where YHWH debated the Pharisee and the scribe. He went into the whorehouse and he debunked their lies. We have learned this Christian lie.
Yes.
And that's why we don't make ourselves strong to debate. I want to be strong to debate. And I study for just that purpose. I'm able to become even more stronger. Now let's get to the book now. This thing we call the virgin birth. Is it a hoax full of lies? Or is nothing but, as the old ones would say, the natural born truth? We'll find out. I'll let you choose. I will choose what Yah says and what he explained. There was a profound prophecy that went forth by the one that was the apple of Yah's eye. His name was Dawid. It's found in the book in Tehillim, Psalms, chapter 110, verse 1. I must establish the type, the process of things in order for you to understand this idea and concept out of the mind of Yah, that he would defy all human conscience to dissect, to reason, to extrapolate, to utilize it in a way that they can define it by some science. You cannot define the creation by science. The only thing that science can say that it was some kind of evolution, some Big Bang, some kind of explosive matters, and the pieces drift off and they began to reproduce. That's stupid. You can put a rock out there all day, you can blow it up, beat it up, and come back. 1,000 years from that, it's going to still be the gravel there. 10,000, the gravel is going to be there. There's no life form in it. Period. Yet there is life in it. Oh, there, you'll be surprised the kind of life in rocks and things. The kind of life that lives in them. I said the kind of life that lives in them. You will be surprised at the kind of life that lives in rocks and hide themselves. And their lives are there inside of the rock. That's a fact. Let's see what Dawid says in Tehillim 110 verse 1. And there are those that will say that this is Dawid talking about Shlomo, the one that will come. We're going to examine the process, all right? Yeah. You can never understand things unless there's an examination of the process. Yah said to my Adon, my master, I want you to sit you at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. He commanded him where to sit. And there is this theology that this is Shlomo. It can't be. It's not. I will prove the matter of fact. It is not Shlomo. Yeah. This is a Nabu. It is an intelligent prophecy that is factual, it is true, and it must come to pass with a resolution. Yes. That's a fact. That's what prophecy is. It's not something that is vague. There is not one vague word in here. You're going to sit on my right hand, and I'm going to subdue all of your oyib, those that despise you, those that hate you. I'm going to bring them down to the terror of hell. We must understand the right hand of Yah. We must understand that. And I want us, we're going to dissect Matithiyah, Matthews. In chapter 22, verse 43. Matithiyah 22, I want to begin at verse 43. This could not have been Shlomo, a one beside the one that the prophecy was about. Yahshua questioned those of their religious integrity, just like he questions us every time we come in here. Yeah. You can't say you love me when you don't even love your neighbors. Hallelujah. He questioned. He says here, Matithiyah 22, verse 43, he says to them, how then, if you buy that Dawid spoke, the Ruach, that Dawid spoke in Ruach, he called the great one, Yah, the sovereign master, he called him Adon. He called him master, saying, the two commas. He wanted to emphasize the master and what he implied without any questions. Verse 44. The master Yah said, listen to what he says, to my master. This is what Dawid is saying. That Almighty Yahweh, he is the master, says to my master, the one that I should submit all things unto, said to my master, sit you on my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool. And then he asked a question. If Dawid then called him master, that's what he did in verse 24. He did not call Shlomo master. He said, and his master. He said, and the master Yah said to my master, that's my master, he said. Then he says to these ignorant people that thought that they understood the parameter and all the substance of Torah, if Dawid then called him master, if Dawid called him master, how then? How is he then David's son? How could he have been birthed out of Dawid? Yeah, he came in the same promise and the lineage of Dawid, but he was not a birth son of Dawid, no more than my sons. How then, if the master Yah, and Dawid says, he says to my master, who is he talking to? He's talking to Shlomo. Shlomo was not David's master. You see, we are a people that have learned not to read. We have learned not to be tentative because you spell the word you or you with a U. It's not spelled that way. I don't even practice that. Never have. I like to spell words because I like to know how to spell words. I have a spell check when I type, but I know how to spell. I learn words because I practice learning words. I look into the thesaurus. I look at the synonyms and the antonyms. I look at the generation of words, how they progressively have altered, even the meaning and the concept of what it implies. No is still no. Yes is still yes.
Hallelujah.
How can it be? This is some kind of a prophet? Or some other than this one that Dawid says that the prophecy in Tehillim 110 verse 1. How could it be anyone else? There was one that was his master. There was one that was his master. That the one that was David's master, his master, sat under David's master. You said, he didn't tell Dawid to sit on his right hand. He didn't tell Shlomo, there's only one that sits at the right hand of Yah. That's why Yahshua said for you to ask, who sits on my right? It's not even in my power to tell you. Because the true bride is going to sit on the right hand of Yahshua HaMashiach. That's who's going to sit on the right hand side. And so with this religious spirit we have, and most of the things that those that are in Christendom, even in the Hebrew Israelite culture, it was started by those that identify with Judaism and Jews. That's why they say they're Jews. They're not Jews. There is no word as a Jew. There is no people. And so those in that land that want to call themselves Jews, I have no problem with that. Because a son was not named Judaism. There was one named Yehuda. And those that are of Israel, the Yehudim, takes me to another case. Kefa, the one that denied Yahshua there in the midst of YisraYah'ale, dealing with the same kinds of people as Yahshua. Ma'asef Shilisham, Acts chapter 2, verse 23. He gives the account and he doesn't hold back anything. Acts 2, verse 23. He talks about him being delivered by the determinate counsel. It was a council said we're going to get him. But there was something in place before they said they're going to get him. It was by the foreknowledge. It was by the prognosis. That's the Greekish word, the prognosis. It was the forethought and the prearranged thing that Yah had done. That's why words are quite valuable. It was by the prognosis. You had prearranged. I will have them all there. I want them to kill him, to destroy him, to impel him, and then kill him. It was by Yah prearranged account. So if He'll prearrange me down that day, He'll prearrange you as He did Jeremiah before he was ever formed in his Emma's womb. Yes. He knew him. He yelled. He pulled us all out of the bank of life. And He put that there in the process. The man and the woman show the seal of the sign of their benevolence to one another and to make sure they take care of the child right. Yeah. That's why. He said this was the foreknowledge of Almighty Yahweh. You have taken, He tells them, by your wicked hands. No one wants to say that my hands are wicked. Our hands are wicked. We got wicked, nasty hands. He said, you have taken this man, although Yah prearranged it, you have taken him by your wicked hands. Not only have you impaled him, you have killed him. Those are the words of Kephah's mouth. This is what he says. Then he says this, whom Yah has raised up. Yah raised him up. Yes. It's important for us to understand this. I'm telling us, YisraYah'ale. He said, whom Yah raised him up, having loose, He demolished, He destroyed what? The pains or the ropes or the shackles of death. He destroyed that. That's why we as a nation, we just sleep. Does He like sleep? There are folks that die, I don't know, but I know that there are pains. Because this is what Kephah says. It's only YHWH can break the shackles of the pains of death. That's why we better get it right. We better seek the counsel of Yah. And let Him reveal unto you those evil, wicked hands that proceed from the thoughts of your mind to deny the birth in the process. Yah said, YHWH came, but you believe all the rest. You are a damnable, stupid fool. I'm not going to stop talking like this. Sometimes I try, but I can't. This is a stubborn, ignorant generation. It's wild and it's crazy. You believe in the creation. You believe in the feast days and all of that. You believe in the moon, the sun. Yet you question that. One that is so magnificent they can make a star. That is so far up, and yet you can't see it. He makes the moon 92 million miles away. You know you can see 92 million miles. I can see 200, 350 million, 1,000 miles too. That's how far the moon is. I know I can see that far. You got them things I can see that far. I take these off, I go out there right now and see the sun. I saw that moon last night just as visible. I didn't see him as well as I saw the moon. He was up on the hill getting the last bit of things down there, but I can see the moon. Bright, shiny. I can see that. That's a fact. He said, because it was not possible that he should be holden of death. It is not possible for us to be holden by the sins of our corruptions if we repent, if we change, and we put it in His hands to change us. We should not be holden by that. Neither can death, the shackles, and the pains of death can hold us. What? fearful to die, because knowing that death is, it inspires me to do what he commands me and to live it like he commands.
Hallelujah.
I will cheat no man.
Yes, you are.
I will lie to no man. I will rob or steal from no one.
Hallelujah.
I will be honest with all men. All men. You wrong, I will tell you. That's a fact. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Listen to what he says in verse 25. For Dawid speaks. Did I read Tehillim 110:1?
Yes.
Did I read that?
Yes.
For Dawid speaks. He didn't tell me where to find that, but he told me Dawid spoke. For Dawid speak concerning him, the one you've robbed, the one you've killed, the one you've impaled, and the one that you have killed. I saw my Almighty Yahweh always before my face. I saw the great Creator. For he is on my right hand, that I shall not be moved. I will not be moved. There are those that have been moved from the purity of Yah's knowledge, the concept of Yeshua came the way he did. I will prove it. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove everything, not by some intelligent expertism, but by what the book says. It's written in the book. You just can't be lazy. And those that will battle someone with that, they only know 1 or 2 verses. That's it. I will prove it by the volume of the integrity of Torah. I will, YisraYah'ale. So here we see this prophecy of Dawid. Kephah speaks about it. YHWH. So he was not talking to you or me. He was not talking to some melech. He was not talking about Shlomo. Was one that was greater, because Dawid said, this is my master. And there was nobody over Dawid but the Almighty Creator. No one else but him. And that's just a fact. Let's go back to Hebrews. I want to go to Abraham. Hebrews chapter 1. Did he make the Melachim? Are they superior to man? Sure they are. I want to solidify this. That's why it's important to understand the context of Torah and how to examine it. That every line must be upon the line, every line upon line, and every precept and every concept. It must be in its proper place in the dialogue to try to reveal things. Now I want you all to listen to this. Abraham, Hebrews chapter 1. There is nothing. He sent the Melachim to fight for us. He sent them to guard Yeshua, that he would go in the arranged order that Yah ordained for him.
Yes.
And this is what Shaul says, the man that fought against HaMashiach. Look at what the word says. Being made, he was made so much better than the Melachim. Was he not? Yeshua was made better than them. As he has inherited a kleron moment. He has inherited. He has received his portion. The blessing of Yah. He has received, obtained a more excellent name than them all. His name is not a faggot, Jesus' name. And it is translated to us in the language that he spoke. It is not some Americanized, live British English name. I don't respect that at all, the lies that were brought to me and the corruption that were taught in a corrupt lie. I'm not going to honor that. The Christmas, the Thanksgiving, the Easter, the laws, and all the pagans. And something gets wrong with you. I want you all to read this whole chapter. But hold on. I'm going to read one more verse for you. Verse 13. All right? Yeah. But I want you to let that be part of your study. I give you enough for you to study, all right?
Yes.
And make you brighter and more knowledgeable. It says in Hebrews, Hebron 1:13, although the angels are excellent, the Melachim, the excellent and mighty. It says, but which? But to which? But to which? He did not say that to Micaiah, YisraYah'ale, but to which of the Melachim said he at any time? When did he even prefer or even make any kind of a situation? At any time. Sit on my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. Which of the Melachim? There's only one that the prophecy spoke of, and it spoke of YHWH HaMashiach nation, him that will come by the channels that defy all the ignorance of man. And he came by a channel that defies the concept of man's logic. Anytime you begin to put logic in Torah, you're going to destroy yourself. And that's what we try to do, reason within Torah. Your sins are sins. You're wrong according to the manuscript of Torah. YHWH is the witness of the life of that. You can't play with this book. You cannot reason or interpret it by some intelligent knowledge. It must be interpreted by itself. Yes. Now, if I'm not interpreting it by scripture, get out of here, because I'm a dirty liar. Everything I would teach will be interpreted by scripture. Yeah. Well, you inject, I know I'm going to inject from what the massive trolling of scripture has revealed and taught me, so I can speak from the experience of that, through the research and the trying and seeing, spending 30 minutes an hour, or have to rest to go back and look at this to make sure. I don't want to put nothing before you that false nation. I'm not going to do it. I'd rather die. I'd rather he kill me. And I mean that. I know it's hard for us to conceive that, but I mean that. With everything in me, kill me, yeah. Oh, that's all right. Listen to this. Hallelujah. That's what he says. Tell me one of the Melachim, he says, sit on my right hand. He didn't tell one of them.
Hallelujah.
So to which of the Melachim? So the prophets of Dawid we be getting here in Tehillim 110:1, it's got to be a lie or it's the truth. And if he lied that, then the whole book is a lie. There must be a preponderance of evidence, shouldn't it be? It has to be evidence that are beyond our ability to reason with it. And we try to reason within ourselves how correct it is. Because God has always had it tight. He has always had the prototypical one, whereby YHWH was not the first. He was the first to redeem us from our sins and to show the excellence of Yah. He was not the first. I know we get baffled by that. We just get baffled because we don't study like students. I'll prove it. If I don't prove it, listen, don't ever come back. Get your family out of here, all right, son? Get your children, I mean that. I don't care if you're broke as they come. You have to sleep in that van, sleep in it. But I want you to get them out. At that side, brazen and bold I am. Because I'm a student of this. I know what I'm saying. I will prove it. Is that all right? Yeah. I got to prove it. And if I don't prove it, you get away from me because I'm a dirty liar, okay? He always had the prototype. Let's go back to Tehillim. Psalm 110 verse 2. You shall send the rod of your strength out of Zion. So you told me that the strength of Yah out of Zion is in the strength of Dawid or his hand? He said, no, Yah shall send the rod of your strength. He's going to send the strength of his rod out of Zion and in the midst of your enemies. YHWH is the rod of Zion. He is the strength of YisraYah'ale. Your people shall be willing in the day of your power, in the splendor of your set of partners from the womb of the morning. In essence, he said, from the womb you had power, the same authority you had when you grew up. You just didn't know how to use it. You didn't know how to utilize the strength of it, but it was there. We were the elect, the Zerah of Yah, even before we came out of our womb. We were his chosen. Before you were formed, YisraYah'ale, I knew you. I talked with you, boy. She didn't name you that by chance. I knew you.
Yes.
He said, in the spirit of your set apartness in the womb of the morning. He says, you have the dew of your youth. What he's saying, you have the strength, you have the dew of your youth. In essence, you have the fresh water from the day you came out of the womb. There was life in you.
Hallelujah.
From the day that I created you in that womb, I just use that to be the chamber, because I hold you in the cradles of my hand. It is my word that holds you, because you are my word.
Hallelujah.
I hold you in the cradles of my hand. You're not going to fall. You're not going to get hurt. And everything, you must understand, I preordained this. There's nothing that's going to happen to us that out of the will of Yah. Everything that happens to us is not by some chance. It is the will of Yah. If we live, it's the will of Yah. If we die, it's the will of Yah. If there are turbulent things in our life, it's the will of Yah. If we get sick, it's the will of Yah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Way.
There's nothing by some chance.
Hallelujah.
We'll let the Torah prove it.
Hallelujah.
That's nothing to do with me and what I think or what I want. But let's see what the book says.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Let us look at verse 4. This is vitally important. And this is going to cement it. It's going to establish the root here of all things. And then we're going to go into another process of this type. And then I want to begin on next Shabbat the birth of this one. The birth of the power of this womb. And how you will know that there is no doubt it was birthed that way. Tehillim 110 verse 4. It says that Yah has sworn. He has SHABBAT. He has declared. He has made the statement. He stands on it. There is no altering at all. Yah has sworn. And he said, I will not repent. I'm not going to alter one word. I'm not going to make teshuvah. I'm not going to shub. He says, I will not shub. I will not turn anything around. I will not try to appease a hard-headed, wicked nation of people. I'm not going to alter one word. It stands just like I said it. And he will not repent. Well, I meant that way, but there was some circumstances. No, he said, I will not repent. He calls him out, you. And this is YHWH he's talking about. He says, you. There's only one time like this. He had Levi. And they were the Koim after the order of Abraham, of Haran. But there's only one. I want you all to hear this. I want you to hear it. He says, I will not repent. You, YHWH, you are a Kohen. You are a priest. Leolam v'ed pisto forever. What? After the order. That's the key right there. You see, we read things, and because we think we understand what they mean, we give no emphasis to that. He says, after the Dibra. The Dibra. And that is the male or the masculinity of the words Ndava. Ndavari of the word, the promises of Yah. He says that you, my son, after the Dibra, after my manner, the way I reason, has nothing to do with how man reason. Man reason that can happen. I've heard these dirty bastards are said like that. I've heard these bastards mark the birth of YHWH. I don't listen to these damn dogs. And it was by chance I heard them say that. I don't listen to these dogs to get inspiration, create a teaching. I've heard them. They will make the mockery of jester. That Yosef, you think it was some kind of melach? They will say angel back there, and they will use the word banging. That's what these dirty children of hell say. You think I will waste y'all's time listening to these dirty dogs? These are dogs. Y'all says, I will not repent. Not at all. And then he says, I'm going to put a seal on you like no other man but one man. Your birth will be like his. You will be born like him. There was no history on him. There is no father of him. There is no mother of him. There is no record of him. And the only record is going to be of you is me. And what you is birth for. There is no record of Melchizedek or Melchizedek. There is no record, no father. There is no history. He came by the same order. He was a man. He was the king of Shalom. He was a prince, the Tsar. This is a stupid generation. They don't know how to study the legality of Torah. Why didn't he say, I'm going to make you have to go in after Haran? He says this. He says, you are a Kohan forever. After the order, the Dibra of Melchizedek. Every functionality, the way he came, the way he was birthed, you must come back.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
There's nowhere in the chronological sequence of birth you can find Melchizedek. Nowhere. You can't find it. No father, no mother. He said, you're going to walk in this order. Why? Because there must be a witness. There was one, then there was two. But Melchizedek and Melchizedek could not do what Yahshua did.
Hallelujah.
No, he could not. He offered the offerings perfect before Yah. But Yahshua offered the only offering.
Hallelujah.
He offered the only reconciliation. That someone that is as vile, evil, and wicked as me, he offered it all. Melchizedek couldn't do that. He was, as they would say, the forerunner. But he had to come the same way.
Hallelujah.
Just like Elijah. Elijah come? Oh, he's coming. He's here. Because I am Elijah, because I put in Elijah. I was what Elijah talked about. He is the word. Elijah, Elisha, they spoke Torah. They spoke the word of Yah.
Yes.
And when they speak the Torah, they speak Yahshua. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Now this has to be authentic. What Dawid says in verse 4. It must have a witness in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. Let every word be established. And I'm going to establish that. Whether it's the truth what Dawid said, it's a lie. And if it's a lie, throw the book away. Throw it away. Throw it away. Everything I said, the preface, then throw it away. It's either there is evidence to approve, or it is a wicked lie. It is something that has been conjured, and me trying to justify it. I don't justify nothing. My life don't even justify him. He justified because he chose a dirty piece of trash like you and me.
Hallelujah.
Mother say, listen, Dawid persecuted Yahshua and Yah. He did something that was so evil. He took that one's wife of his faithful loyal one, Uriah's wife. He took her. And don't tell me, you dirty, twisted liars, you have 5 or 6 wives. And don't tell me what Yah said to Dawid. Shlomo had 1,000, and it still did not give him the 700 wives and 300 concubines, and that doesn't include the rest of them. And Yah suffered that because we were a nation of thousands of wicked gods, and that's what that all represented. We had committed so many sins, and what he was showing us as a nation, with all of your pleasures and every wicked thing you do, you're still not happy. You're still not satisfied. If you had $100 million, you won't be satisfied. How do you know that? Because look at Mr. Rizzo, look at the rich bastards like Bill Gates. They're never happy. The Warren Buffetts are still trying to get another one. Don't be stupid, people.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
You can't share $1 with someone. You're not going to share 100 million. If you're stingy with $1, you think you're going to be free with 10,000 or 100,000? You'll be a dirty dog. Give you 10,000 wives. You sure there's no pleasure in that? She doesn't have no pleasure. You got to be a stupid man. You're stupid. You're not even stupid. So Dawid sinned greatly. Yet he was elected, y'all. He was chosen, the apple of his eye. Tell me about your sins. Don't tell me. That's just a statement. I don't want to know your sins. All right? I can look at mine. I don't practice sinning. I don't practice once I hear the truth. I don't harden my heart. When I know it's right to do, I'm not going to do anything contrary to that. When I know I'm wrong, I'm wrong. When I know it's going to take repentance, and it does every second of the day, I'm not going to go practice it. I'm not going to practice lying as a way of life. I'm not going to practice doing evil things as a way of life. I'm not going to practice stealing. I'm not going to practice robbing. I'm not going to practice those things. I'm not going to practice fraternizing or some kind of flirtation with some woman. I'm not going to practice that. I'm not going to practice some kind of evil thing against our babies. I'm not going to practice. I'm not going to even allow nothing like that.
Hallelujah.
Seduce my mind. That's crazy. You know you're not done, Lord Daddy. When you practice lies, you're an evil devil. You're a child of hell. You're of your father, the devil. I don't give a... almost want to say the damn with their God's name up there. Who you is. You practice things, they become so much part of your personality. You are a crazy fool. But get on your knees, you jackass of a heathen, and not repenting of the words I use. You don't even fear Yah enough. And you don't even love yourself enough. I love me too. I love me some. I love me a whole lot. Because I know there is no reward to sin. I don't care what we think. I'm old enough to tell you. There is no reward to sin. It's not even a momentary reward. And even the sensation and the emotions that God, it only lasts a second. That's fact. That's fact. I've been around about it. That's fact. Either Dawid is a liar, and the whole book is a lie. I'm going to refine all of that. Either he's a Kohan, after the order of one that had no beginning. No. Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 5, verse 5. Read the whole chapter, Hebrews 5. I want to ask you a question. If I mess up in the reading, you raise your hand, all right? If it's not precisely, constructively, according to what Yah says. This is what Shaul says. So also Mashiach, he is the one that Daksat Zoh. He extolled, he was exuded, he was magnified, not himself. He did not raise himself up. It was preordained to be made a high Kohan. He did not exalt himself to be made that. He did not try to present this kind of front to say, look at me, promote me. He didn't do that with Yah. He didn't have to. He that said to him, Yah said to Yeshua, you are my son. You are my son. Today have I, Dina'o, I have begotten. Simply I brought you forth. That's all what Dina'o is. I brought you forth. That's what the word begotten is. I brought you forth. I've just brought you forth. I've used this body, this tool, but I'm bringing you forth out of that. It's almost like someone taking a piece of metal and they shape that into an elaborate, beautiful thing to behold. He said, I have brought you forth. And he says in verse 6, as he says in another place, you are Kohan forever, after the order or the taxes. It is a fixed succession. I read that. I know I did earlier because I want to tie it all in. After the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, was Joshua flesh? Yes, he was flesh. Was he flesh? Yes, he was flesh. Who in the days of his flesh. Why did he paraphrase that way? Why did he inject that of his flesh? When he had offered up prayers and supplication and strong cries and tears to him that was able to deliver him. Yeshua offered up those prayers. He cried to Yah from death and was heard, and he feared. Though he was a son. You see what that said?
Yeah.
Yet you got to learn, people. Yet learn. Yet manthano. Yet learn. You have to learn. You must learn. And you learn by counsel and correction. Yet he learned. He had increase in knowledge. Although that was birthed in him from the day everything in you was there when you were born. But you learn. Learn how to say yes, no, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Learn how to walk. You didn't jump out of that womb and say, I'm walking, I'm going to the store, I'm driving to the store, and getting me some peanut butter and jelly and some bread. You didn't do that. Yet he learned. Like we order, yet he learned. Yet he learned. Yet he learned. He obedience by the thing which he passed. The things he suffered. That's how Yeshua learned. What he suffered. And if you don't learn from about what you suffer, you're ignorant. You're beyond help. There's a stupidity in you that cannot, it doesn't, nothing right with it. He learned about the things that he obeyed by the things he suffered.
Yes.
Then it says this. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And he grew up to be perfect and became the author of salvation to all them. He's only the author of salvation unto us that obey.
Hallelujah.
That's the whole emphasis. We must obey.
Hallelujah.
If you don't obey, you're not a champion of salvation. All them that obey, that's the most important thing there. Everything I've said so far, that one word capsulized everything. We must obey. Obey him. Call of Yah. Again now, he was called of Yah, a Kohan HaKodesh, after the taxes, after the order of Melchizedek. Yah ordained him to be what he is, who he was, after the order of Melchizedek and no one else. Now, I got enough time. Yes. I want to show you the order of Melchizedek. I want to show you if Yeshua was the first that came that way, without record. No one knowing. They had knew of him, but they didn't know him. It's almost saying that I know Mr. Trump. I don't know Mr. Trump. I know of him, but I can say emphatically, I know her. I know my wife. So we can say we know someone. I recall Evangelist Hartsfield corrected me on that. I was young, immature, I didn't understand. But then I did the research on the word knowing. You have to understand. You see what it meant. They used to say in the whole house, I know that I know that I know that I know. You've had an experience. And that's how we know each other, by experience. That's why a child know the mother, the father by experience. They experience the warmth, the breast, the love by experience. That's how brothers experience one another by faithfulness, fellowship, and care and love. That's why they say, I know him. I know her.
Yes.
That's how that works. Now we're going to go back because if the markers are not there in Melchizedek, forgive me. If the markers are not there in Yeshua, Yah says you call after the order. Then the whole book throw it away. I will never preach again. And I promise you that. I don't have to worry about that. Because I got to preach part 2. So I must prove all things in Torah. Let us go to Bereshit, Genesis. Bereshit chapter 14. I want to read one verse. You read the whole chapter. So you can get a contextual understanding and view of what this is about. Bereshit, Genesis 14 verse 18. Yah speaks of Melchizedek, or Melchizedek. The Torah says in verse 18, and Melchizedek, he was the Melech, or Melchizedek, he was the king of Salem. Now you think Yah made him king of Sholem, the place of shalom, of peace, named it Salem, that he represented the person that he will stand in proxy until he come forth out of the womb? You think that these are just words here? These are not just words put here. They all have relevance. He was the king of Sholem. He was the king of Sholem. He brought forth bread and wine, and he was Kohan. He was the Kohan of the Most High Yah. He was the Kohan. And so when Abraham had came from the slaughter of the kings, he brought gift. He brought water and bread for the elect of Almighty Yah. He poured the blessing upon him. And yet Abraham gave him a tenth of all that he had. That's why you liars that say you don't tithe, you're liars, and you're going to answer to Yah for that, all right? Let me proceed, all right? Now the Torah must justify this and bring it into vision or knowledge for us all, right? So let's take the journey. I want to begin here in the 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy. Now he was the king of Salem. I want to identify one thing, that what Shaul says to Timothy concerning this king. Melchizedek was a king, but Yahshua had a greater power than that. He says at 1 Timothy 6:15, which in his time, Yahshua, he shall show who is the blessed and only, no other one. There is no other one there, kind and the same type. But there is no other one that could deliver us from the shackles and the bondage of sin. No other one. The only potentate, the only great authority, he is the King of Kings. And he is the master of all rulers. That's who Yahshua is. That's who he is. But it says that Melchizedek, he was the king of Shalom. That has nothing to do with Yahshua in the sense that that didn't say that he was the king of Shalom. They did not say he was the Tsar, the prince. Well, I want to read this and we'll go back there, right? Let's go quickly to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 6. Isaiah 9. Isaiah 9. Isaiah 9. He must come in the same order, the same texts. He must come in the same profound order as Melchizedek. It says in Isaiah 9:1 verse 6, for to us is born a child, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be, these are the excellent attributes of Yahshua. He is wonderful. He is so wonderful. He is the mighty counselor. He is, when he is spoken, he is the Musar, the discipline, the correction, the chastisement of Almighty God. He is the mighty El. He is the power and the strength of Yah's being. We will never see Yah in the sense that we think we're going to see him. But we will see the strength of Yah in Yahshua HaMashiach. Yeah. He is the everlasting Father, the Abba. He is the power. When you see him, you see, as one would say, you the spitting image of your daddy. You ever heard that? Well, that's for older people. You that are young may not have heard that. You the spitting image of your daddy. Boy, that's your daddy. I don't care what a woman said, that's his daddy, Jimmy said, no. Ooh, that boy's a spitting image of Bobby Lou Smith. That boy's a spitting image. Look like he spit him out of his mouth. I don't know about that, baby. You just pray to the Lord and he'll help you. Spitting image. Spitting image. The very same image. Identical, exactly.
Yes.
He shall be called Everlasting Father. And then it says, for by the king Melchizedek that met Moshe, met Abraham. He was the king, the czar, the ruler of Shalem. Shalem. He shall be called the Prince of Shalem.
Yes.
He shall be called the Prince of Peace. He shall be called the Prince of Shalom. You see, Yah doesn't break his heart. He's not going to repent. He was the king. He was the Kohan of Salem, which in the tongue of my forefather, it would be Shalem. And there are many enunciations of the word Shalom, Shalem. He is the prince. He is the ruler. Why? Because the king, it's Melchizedek was here. He had already come. And so there must be an order. But he is still the king of all kings. But he's the prince under the order of Melchizedek. You don't have two kings. You have one. And Melchizedek is the king of disorder. And so Yahshua is the prince of that city, of that land, Shalem.
Yeah.
That's what he is. You understand now? Yeah. He is the prince of peace.
Yeah.
He must come in the same order of Melchizedek. So Yosef could not put him there. He had to be put there by Yah.
Yes.
I don't even know what people think that's hard to do. What is hard? What is too hard for Yah? Man, if he made a universe like this, I can't even think beyond even the heavens. I don't want to think beyond that. I don't want to try to comprise the knowledge and understand the depth of the universe and solar system. I don't want to. I don't need to. Abraham realized, I sat here all night. I don't have the kind of mosquitoes we got now, but the bugs, they're working on me. And then the reason of the mind of Yah say, boy, you can't figure it out. If I let you live as long as Methuselah, 10 times over, you still can't figure it out. Unless I reveal it to you. Yeah. He take the things that people think are wise, he confound the wise with their own, with simple things. So this confines those that are wise, thinking that they can read a few verses and figure it out. You can't do it, nation. Yeah. That's why he ordained men. I don't care. You can dishonor men all you want to. I would dishonor no man, but you're not going to dishonor me, man. I'm not going to do that. I can appreciate every man. Can I tell you a story? I want to finish. The other day when they put the pump in the well up here by Zachin's house, and we got to look at that, don't forget, okay? They put the new water pump in, that thing costs too. I told him, man, we'll come help you, we'll work for you. And he said, you know, he pulled me aside and said, preacher, you know, I gave you, don't tell nobody what I charge you, all right? That ain't their business. Don't never tell nobody what I charge you. He didn't even want his help to hear that. He said, come here, let me see. He said, don't tell nobody what don't tell nobody. So I won't make mention of that. So I asked about Ted Vick, the man that sold us the land across the street, the man who sold us the land down here. I knew that he was a state house representative from our area. And Ted, I like Ted, because he proved himself to be right by me. And so when he had that little alliance with the young woman, the little student head down there at the University of South Carolina, instead had a master's degree, was a major in the military reserve. All hell broke loose with Ted Vick. And so I asked him, he said, well, I don't mess with Ted. He moved away. So I said, you condemned him for, he was wrong. And when he did that, that's your president in the White House. Your president paid them. And yet you vote for him. You can put Ted Vick's sign in your yard. I told Ted from J Street, I don't vote for Ted Vick. I don't vote for Obama. I vote for no man. My vote was cast for me, and that's enough for me. I say, how many of the men down in the State House has done what he's done, but just hasn't been caught? And I said, that's your friend, and you. He got so quiet you could hear a rat eat cheese. The man sinned. I've known men that have sinned egregiously, but I did not condemn them. I didn't even separate from them. Believe me, I know what I'm saying. Because we all have sinned and fallen short. Y'all's expectation.
Yes. Hallelujah.
When I began to spit it out, they all got quiet. You couldn't say nothing. You already complaining about your wife to me. Now you're going to condemn him? I say, what sin? What did he do? From your back, this whorehouse. What did he do that was that egregious? He was wrong. He did wrong. And I will be the first man to tell him. Your Southern Baptist church taught him that. Well, Ted was scared of me because he knew that I would rock his boat. That's right. I play with no man. That's why he could honor me. A man gave us $3,200 when we bought this land across the street. I took those same $3,200, put in the account, went down to his office, and gave him that on that piece of land down there. And did not make a payment for 3 years until Yah blessed us to purchase the land. That's a fact. He proved himself to be an honorable man with me. But he did something wrong. How many of you have done that? You see, both of them got quads, so they have, all right, they've rocked the boat too, okay? But a man doesn't defend his integrity against things like that. When I begin to talk, I know he's done it. When he doesn't defend it, I know he's done it. They got quiet. And then he gave me a nice price too. I know he did. I know how much we paid for this pump. Yeah. He put a Georgia pump up there. That what? We got a deal. I want to finish this today. Let me move. He is the Prince of Peace. It says Melchizedek was the king of Salem. Did it say that? We should all. He is the prince. So after the king, there must be a prince. They must walk in the same order. They must have the same pedigree. They must come from the same house or the same lineage of that bloodline. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. There's a sequence of those that would take power. Queen Elizabeth, there was no man there. Then our sons, Charles, and then his sons, and the oldest one. So YHWH is the oldest one of this order. He was the king of Shalom. YHWH is the prince of Shalom. He's the prince of Shalom. Well, that doesn't bring about any kind of clarity. Let me go again back to Hebrews chapter 7. Hallelujah. Hebrews chapter 7. You'll write these down. And this will give you enough fodder for the next 2 months to study. Go down to the beach. I know you're not going to study, but take this with you and read. Hallelujah. Look what it says in Hebrews chapter 7. This is the word that the Greek was used. They would say homeotes, the similitude, or the very same pattern. Homeotes. Look what it says, otis, the likeness. It says in Hebrews 7:15, and it is yet far more evident, for that after the same similitude of Melchizedek, there arose another what? Kohan, another priest, another one. There shall arise another one after the same order. That's what it says.
Yes.
There shall come one of the same stature, same magnitude, of the same degree of birth, same thing. Yochanan says that I submerged you baptizo, and he stood among us, and I didn't even know. And there's one that's standing among you, you don't even know him. Here I'm putting you down in water. He walks right up in the midst, and I don't even know him. I've had no experience with him. And there was one that will come in the same similitude in the likeness, in the same exact likeness, in the same likeness of birth. Two twins are born, they come in the likeness. And they were birthed by the same order, by the same one, for the same purpose. They shall reign superior over the Shalom of Yah. Come in the same similitude, there shall arise another Kohan. That shall arise another Kohan. Now, if it's a likeness, I know we think we understand that, the likeness. If we express that, well, you know what likeness is, like somebody, you do like them, but that's to give us a clear identity of the word likeness, so we can understand. Go quickly to Bereshit, Genesis. I want to show you this what likeness is. Genesis, Bereshit, chapter 1. One verse I want to read. One verse. And this is the summation of likeness. And the Almighty Yahweh said, let us make Adam, man. Listen now, he said, I want him to be the visualist of us. In our image. This is what he made to represent his image. When someone tried to image someone, they dress like them, they act like them, we must act like him, we must do like him. He said, according to our likeness, dim oath, just like us. Just like you, Joshua. That's why you can't come in some strange costume and look like the elephant man or the Bigfoot monster. He had to come in the likeness of man. He had to come in the likeness of man. Yah made man in his likeness. That's what he said. He made him in his similitude. That is what the word likeness is. And let them have dominion over the fish, power over. There's nothing man doesn't have dominion over. And over the birds of the air, and over the animal, and all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creep upon the earth. He must have dominion. Yah said he must have that power. He must be in our likeness. Do you understand what that is? His similitude. Just like Shaul says here in Hebrews, that he utilized that there shall arise a Kohan in the same similitude of Yahshua. That what I read in Hebrews 7:15. They must be exactly. You see, that's why there's so many that they misconstrue, because they learn things and remember things, but there is no life to what they remember. Those cats on the corner, they remember things. And it's just me coming, they know what they're going to say. They rehearse that all week. I don't rehearse nothing. Yeah. I sat down when I finished as a volume of scripture. And sometimes I'm so stupid as to how I rightly divide this. I don't know how to. When I wrote this down, I didn't know. I know the words will pop in my mind. Go there and I will search and find it. And this, that's how I do it. Then I get up and how do I work this thing here? So yesterday I worked on it. That's why when I didn't get up to 5, I'm like, hey man, that alarm clock went on precisely 5. You can make over precisely 4 during the week, not 3:30, not 3:35, not 3:40. It went on precisely 5 a.m. I want to go up precisely 4, not 3:45, not 3:50. I want to go off it precisely 4 a.m. in the morning. Not 5 minutes ahead, precisely. I got a clock in the bathroom in my office, set by the atomic clock, the precise, 7 that degree. That's right. Must be in the likeness and the same similitude. Are we in the image of Yah? Yes. Sure we are. Did he make a woman in our likeness? Yes. Sure he did. So he made you in my likeness from my rib. That's right. Hallelujah. Yeah. Hallelujah. Yeah. That's right. Hallelujah. Yeah. I got to prove this out before I'm hungry now, okay? Jean said I'm hungry. Haven't eaten since yesterday. Didn't eat as much as I should have. Let's examine this quickly in Philippians 2, Felicia. I want to read verse 7. He talks about Yahshua, but he made himself of no reputation, and took upon him, it says, the morphine, the form, the exactness, the extent and appearance and all of a doulos. He took upon the appearance. He was not haughty, arrogant, But he took upon himself what a servant looked like. And everybody in those days knew what a servant looked like. How they dressed, what they had. But he took upon that likeness. And it says that he was ginomai. He was made. He become. And some folks say he was made. Well, he's a made man. He became. He was not made a millionaire. He was not made, when he was made, he was a child. He didn't look, he was going to he was going to be 6'3" tall and black and handsome. He didn't look like that. He said he became, that's what he did. He was made in the likeness. Was Joshua made in the likeness of man? Yes. Was he made in the likeness of man? Yes. He was made in the likeness of just like Melchizedek, in that same image. But he was made in the likeness of man. He was no strange looking thing. He didn't come glowing or no mess like that. He didn't come dressed like a faggot hippie with hat down his back. He didn't come dressed like a dready rusty and with dreadlocks everywhere, man. He didn't come that way. He came with no reputation. Because when they saw him, they said, that no man beheld his beauty and the strength of him. That's a fact.
Yes.
This boy doesn't have no pedigree. That's a fact. He came in the likeness of man. He came in the same hamoi oma, and the same similitude, the same image, and the same outfit, flesh.
Yes.
I'm doing this to let us understand now. Unless he was in the same image and likeness of Melchizedek, then the whole book is a lie. Throw it away. And I will lie you too, all right? Run from me, all right? I want you to run from me. Run from me. And that's a fact, nation. Matithia 1 and 20. I got plenty of time to finish. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Now this is the record. I want to show you the type and the record of Yeshua. This is Yosef, all right? When this messenger of Yahweh said that she is found with child. Let's read it in Matthew's verse 1, chapter 1, verse 20. But while he thought on these things, it says, Ido, behold, 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 the Melech of Yah appeared to him in a dream, in a dream, which is as physical and visual as we are here today.
Yeah.
This is what the Malach said, Yosef, you are the son of Dawid. Fear not. Now we will get into the depth of that next week. I want to show us some things quickly. Fear not to take you Miriam for your wife, for that which is conceived or that which has been birthed, it shall come to life. That which is begun in her is of Haruach, HaChodash. It is of the mind of Yah. Only Yah can create. Yah's Ruach is the living aspects of his mind. It is not just something we think like the wind blowing out there, but the wind is Ruach. But Yah's Ruach is not like that. We have corrupt what we call the Ruach of Yah.
Yes.
We have not some old crazy thing in us. It brings life to everything. When we read the book, it brings life. When we understand, it brings life and rejoicing in us, nation. Cause us to hate sin. He said, that which is in her, the breath of the life of the spoken word. Yeshua's the spoken word. It was spoken in prophecy, and she's the one. All right, baby, start growing. You think that's hard for Yah? You fools that he made the stars. I would think the hard stars to make a, can you imagine? We don't even understand the mass of the sun. I got to do a study on that. We did the volume of the sun, the massness of it. I'm going to do that today. You make something that, can you imagine? I said to the babies that we were sitting there, that I say the earth is, the circumference is 24,000 Miles, how do you even figure that out? How do you figure that out? How do you figure, your mind, when it gets to Charlotte, you're like, whoa. Then you following the roads to go where you're going. You don't get too much farther than Charlotte. You follow all up to Virginia, whoa, that's a long way. You get past New York, and wow. You never been into Canada? Your mind can't even think in the logics of that. That's what I'm saying, that usually when we think in logic, we say, well, how far is that? That's 70 miles? 80 miles? Okay, I know how far 80 miles is. That's about from here to Columbia. From here to Charlotte City. A little farther, on the other side, up in that area, Concord. That's how we think. But to logically comprehend 24,000 miles, it's silly. You don't even comprehend that. I wouldn't even waste my energy and time trying to. I know this earth is big. She's a monster. I know flying over Africa coming from, we stopped in Rome. No, we stopped in Rome on the way back, coming from O'Hare Airport. That was a long ride. I said, I love you all there in Africa, but I will never do that. Not me. That's why those flights are done at night, because they want you to sleep. And we got there, it was the middle of the day. And then around the rugged roads they had, man, that was an experience. And I was as ignorant as they come. I was. I bless Yah for Yahshua.
Hallelujah.
I do.
Yeah.
And I do. He said that which is conceived in her is of HOAX. It's either lie or it's the truth. It must be made known to understand what this is, how it came to pass. It must be. If it's not, it's a flat out dirty evil lie. Throw the book away. Throw the book away. Throw it away. It has nothing. He must come in the order of Melchizedek. He must. Yah said that child is of the Ruach. Yosef, take her for your wife. Don't worry about it. That was a process. He had the legitimate rights as in that moment. We're going to understand that. That's why this was of Yah. He had to come in the same order and the same similitude of Melchizedek. What is the similitude of Melchizedek? I want to get this part done today. Let us go back to Hebrews. Yeah. Let us find out the similitude of Melchizedek. And so we compare the office of, make the correlation between the office of Melchizedek and the office of Yahshua HaMashiach. It says this in chapter 7, verse 1. Hebrews chapter 7, verse 1. Hebrews chapter 7, verse 1. It says, for this Melech Tzaddik, we know this is Melchizedek. He was the king of Shalem. He was the Kohen of the Most High Yah. That's who he was. He met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the Melechim, from the slaughter of the kings. Come and he barak. He blessed him. Salutation. To whom Abraham gave a 10th part of all. First began with the interpretation, Melech of Tzaddik. After that, also king of Shalem, which is Melech of Shalom. That's what it says. Okay. Yahshua had to come in the same order. There's a verse 3 down there, isn't it? Yes, yes. Sure. Yes. It says a pato, without. Yes. Without. Yes. Yosef is not Yeshua's father. It says without a pato, there is no genealogy of a father in records. There's no identity of Melchizedek And we know that kings operated in the succession of their fathers.
Yes.
And those that were ordained to that position. And he did. Because the king, Almighty Yah, he, in the blindness of the people's eyes, he rose him up. He has, it says this, without father, without mother. Yahshua had no mother, we'll prove that. He never called Miriam mother. He told the disciples, your mother. And they took her, the Torah said, and they took care of her. He never called Yosef father. Never! It's nowhere in the annals of this book. Melach Sadiq, there is no record of him having a father. There is no record in the book and the writings of Yeshua and any of them. There is no record without father. There is no record of him having a mother. Yeshua had no mother. She was the chamber of his birth. There's no one in the writings can witness unto Melchizedek or Melchizedek's birth. There's a record. No father without mother. He didn't even have any descendants. No descendants. Nobody could speak for him. Only Yah. You don't hear that? Only Yah. He had to come in the same similitude. Yeshua. No one could say, well, I know his family. I can go back 50 years and the uncle was a no down drunkard. No. No. His witness was true. Yes. He says, having neither, midah. Do not, neither, never existed, cannot be, having neither. Achi, beginning. Yeshua has no beginning. He was there from the beginning. He is the beginning. He is the beginning. He has no beginning. He didn't begin in the womb of Miriam. Melchizedek had no beginning. There is no father in the records or the annals of any historical evaluation of him that can say they believe or he came from this family of Kohen. You couldn't say that because it wasn't so. He had no beginning of days, nor in end of life. Yeshua had an end of life not so. He went down into the dungeons of Sheol of hell. Yes. Exposed every sin, Melchizedek. But you believe that that was one by the name Melchizedek. Well, that means that there are no records. You are a silly fool. The Torah says he had no beginning of days. He had no time restriction as man. With us we have a time beginning, that's day and night. Yes. He had none of that. The beginning of my day was June 15th. He had no beginning. He had no beginning of days, nor end of life. Yeshua came in the same order of Melchizedek. Yes. Same similitude. So it's either you're going to believe one part or you're not going to believe any of it. And so I guess you dirty dogs of hell, I don't like the way these devils propagate this wicked lie. And they're nothing but clowns and jackasses. They act silly, talk like fools. That wasn't the beginning of Yeshua. He was there in the beginning where Yahshua says, let us, let the power and the integrity of the word make man.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
He came in the same similitude. But you believe that Melchizedek, you can talk about that. Yet you believe that Yosef in some bedroom or some, they don't say that some angel, as they would say, and they're handling Miriam. That's so wicked, so violent. It's not the activity that's wicked, but it's the concept that is so vile, so devilish, so hellish, that the simple, stupid, ignorant, immature mind buys it because they don't have the wherewithal to study and to labor to understand the intricacies of the whole format of the Torah. They don't have that. I didn't have that when I was young and ignorant and stupid, but there were things that I just didn't grab hold to. I left them alone. I didn't mess with it. I didn't try to debate no one. I left it alone. I said, I won't mess with that. I won't mess with that. I leave that alone because I don't know. I can't debate someone. But I heard the name YHWH. I didn't debate Evangelist Hartsfield. Nearly 40 years ago. I didn't debate him. But when I was along, the word spoke concerning the Shabbat. We didn't keep the Shabbat because of this dog down here. I wish if all the notes I kept. I remember going there every day and I started a better sheet. All I had was my concordance. And I would sit at the table on that desk. And I would watch and look out the window of the office right down State Street. You all know. And I would look at that. I would watch police and people go by. And I would sit there and sometimes my mind would just get so heavy and locked up. I don't know what to do. But I'm going to search this thing out. And I searched it one word at a time. And I knew it was the truth. I knew it was the truth. And then when I would get so exhausted, back in the back of the tabernacle, I had one of those old bicycles back there with the flywheel. I go back there, it was 100 degrees back then. It'd be 90 outside, it was 110 degrees back then. I'd lie to you not. I sat on that thing and I put in 25 miles. I would look like someone that just dropped me in a pool. I would be so wet. And I would come back out. I didn't take no bath, I didn't have no word of bathing. Change clothes and everything. And I sat back down at that desk. And in the transition here, I lost all of those notes. I did. I didn't have no computer where I could copy and paste things like I do now. It was a task. But I learned much better that way. I don't learn as much now the way I did back then because it was paper and pen and handwriting and this I can just copy and click. Move it out, copy, boom it, start right there and drop it right there. It's a whole lot different. I could ascertain those things, remember them so vividly. I could draw back on what it was. So we didn't start keeping Shabbat because this dog down here. That's not so. I'd heard about the name before him, probably. Sturdy beast. It wasn't that nation. That doesn't make me great either. None whatsoever. My Israel can attest. I don't say this to be boastful, son. She can attest. She knows I put the time in. She knows that. She knows I put the time in. She knows that she may come in the day. I've been out there working. I'm wet. That's why I changed so many shirts out there. I can't do anything when I'm wet like that. I just change those old fisherman shirts. I don't take nothing for them to dry. I take one off. It's soaking wet. I don't care about the pants being wet. But up here, I can't handle light. And I may sit there 30 minutes, 40 minutes and study on this. Okay, all right. I can't worry. Okay, here I come. I'm coming. I don't sit there and play video games and all that foolishness of texting and all that stupidity. Waste my time on no child's mess like that. I don't give a damn what the world is doing. Hallelujah. I know they don't give a damn about y'all and they don't love him. Hallelujah. The one that gives them breath, they say, well, I love God. Quote, I love God. And when they get their breath, there's no time for him. You got time for Twitter and all that bull. Yeah. Get out of here. You dirty liar. Look at who it is. You, your mama, your granddaddy, and your grandmother. Grandmama's on the jump too now. Don't think they ain't now. All right? Yeah. There are grandmothers that are great-grandmothers that are my age. I remember in old business looking at the mother when she was about what? She had just Them gals were big. And I'm talking to them because they live right across from my mother. And I was there one day. And both of them had babies. One had twins. And I'm talking, the mother was just as immature as they come to me. I said to the young one, I said, how old are you? She says, I'm 15. Not 15, but 15. I'm 15. Okay. You're 15. I said, those are your babies? And I'm not talking about the babies. She had them in a stroller. They were walking. Yes, sir. I said, because the mother looked just as young as the daughter. I said, where's your mother? She's there, my mama right there. So you know I'm inquisitive and knows it. I said, Mama, how old are you? I'm 30 years old. She just turned 30. This girl, come on now. Come on. Come on, lady. Come on. Those little girls just ignorant as they come. On welfare start now. I don't condemn women for that. I'm just saying, Mama, teach your babies and grab their hand. You elderly ones, teach the young ones. Work with them. Let children go through emotional things. You all don't give a damn. You're not going to care to discuss it. We don't give a damn about no one. I say it that way. You don't give a damn. I see things and it troubles my heart greatly. It bothers me. It does. And you don't give a damn what the rats meet. That's the way we is. We have no discerning, no. Back in the days when I said, come here, baby. Come on over here, let me hug you. Yeah, they would. Say, come, let me hug you, baby. Come here. Come on, let Mama talk to you. They will hug them. And just their love along would alter things. We're so damn cold now. I never want to be like that. I want to be with that little child, or that one, any of them. Hold my hand and look at me like she did. Well, you just let them. Well, his son does it all the time. He'll come there and hold me in his pocket. His eyes right in mine. Explain that. I will, but I tell you what, let's eat something first, all right? And then she could sense there's a love, and I know that's what the children do. Now he's a tough one. Uda, my boy. I call him the man child. He's tough. That's all right. I'm a tough man too. I said the doctor who worked on the boy got shot in. What's his name? The story. Father Tim. And the boy was trying to get Tim's dog and he got shot. Drug dealer. And Dr. Whatchagall worked on him. He said it was a tough thing, but Dr. said he was a tough man. He was tough. You all don't remember that part, that thing? I remember that part. You don't remember. He's a tough doctor. He had a tough doctor. He was tough. If I'd have had someone just to understand my pain while I was going on, so I would go and find me a place and cry. I still cry today. I move very easily, and I cry. And things I see, it makes me cry. They do. A lot. I was with my friend the other day. I couldn't hardly talk because I'm crying so much. No preachers, I cry. Some things that move me cry. There are things we must be abreast of. Love God's people.
Hallelujah.
Children.
Yes.
You don't give a damn. You don't know what they're going to do.
Hallelujah.
I couldn't talk to my mother. It's what she was doing caused me to go through that. Hearing them things on Saturday morning, come on. That ain't right. No child. That's why I promise the Most High, you have children. No, I'm not going to hurt nobody, but I will hurt somebody. That's right. We ever give each other. I will never. I will let them suffer. No. And sometimes children like me crying out, who is? Hell no, dead body. It is a shame. Nobody. The only entertainment they get any kind of reception is on the internet, MySpace, Facebook, and all that bull. I remember when I straightened my mother out about my wife. I believe my mother loved my wife. She would pat her hair and say, baby, let me do this for you. My mother never said anything ill toward her because you're not going to do it. I'm not going to let you do it. That ain't about to happen. This is me. She's just as much me as I am me. This is me. I didn't, no, you're not going to do that to her. Don't put no mother, no one over my wife. I had nobody to talk to when I was young. Nobody. But I had time to think, and I thought about a lot of things. I did. And the most important thing, I thought about how to help my mother. I did. How to make a little money to help her. That's why I'm not impressed with money. You don't have to worry about me stealing anything. I want to close right here. It says here in the last about Melchizedek. It says in the latter part, he had no beginning of days. Achid. Beginning of days, no end of life. But it says, but made life to the Son of Almighty Yahweh. Abides. Only the Son abides. A Kohen. Continuously.
Yeah.
He was made life. He was made life. So, explain the birth of Melchizedek to me. Explain that. Fools.
Yeah.
Explain that to me, fools. Well, what it said, you man, you got to understand. No, I understand what I just read because it's simple. He was made like, did he say that? Like to the Son of Man? So YisraYah'ale, that's why I had to lay a foundation today, all right? See, if I just get to talking, well, that's not showing anything. But this right here, you can always go back to this. You can always go back to this. This laid the principles to prove whether he was born. The way he was born. I title messages the way I do to kind of intrigue the minds of people, see how they respond. Oh my, he's saying that Yeshua. I wanted to sound that way because if you read the newsletter, all was in cap except the latter part. What is the truth? I wrote it like that so they will not pay attention. But all the rest was bold cap. But that last part before the question mark, what is the truth? What is the truth? So they saw that, they didn't see the part. What is the truth? You understand? So I know what I'm doing. I know what I am doing. May the riches of your rest upon your YisraYah'ale. I'm tired. And like Jean Valjean, I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat. I'm hungry. I am. The encouraged nation. The year's moving, the time is moving. The cool weather's here. It's going to get cold. It's going to be the 40s next week. We got to get that wood, brothers. All right, we'll sit this evening out there. We'll talk. We're going to strategize a little bit, all right? We got to get the wood. We got to get that. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about no wood. Now, you'll have wood. You're going to stay warm. Don't have to worry about nothing. We got the wood coming. So we're going to make sure we take care of that. All our team off this week. So we're going to do some wood. We're going to do one job tomorrow, all of us. We're going to get our babies that connection to the classroom. We're going to do all of us going to go out there and do that first, all right? Us, 1, 2, 3, 4. Shimmy back there, people. We're going to knock that out first. And I already figure out how much time it takes. He's going to be our skilled man on the saw cutting. You're going to be up there with the guns and the screws and all of that. We're going to get it done. We're going to move all this stuff out here. I shouldn't be talking like this, but we're going to do it, all right? And get it done. We're going to get the saws sharpened up and everything ready. We're going to run. We're not getting out there at 9 in the morning. We're going to be there at 7:30 cutting wood. All right? We're going to do it. We've got to make sure he was obeying all mama back then. You know what they want. We got enough wood, or we got to do it right. What a blessing. Yeah, folks can't afford their electric bill and heat by electricity. They're going to be cold. Folks cannot afford their gas bill. They're going to be cold. Well, I can throw me a piece of wood in the stove. That's a fact. We got enough trees around here. We can stay warm. There's two things we can do. We can stay warm. We can eat. We can take a bath. What else can you ask for? You can eat. You stay warm. Take a bath. You get down to the point where everybody's cold. Everybody's cold. So these buildings, I built them like this for a purpose, so that you don't have to go down there. You can stay in your house all you want to. It may not be no wood for you. Go down there and just sleep on the floor. The little girls will do, they love that. They don't mind that. They stay warm. That's right. I'll stay at home. Well, you stay home now. Not going to be selfish, just burning all the wood on you now. Come on, we can get together. There are folks that didn't even use heat in their home. I heard one testify about one saying, I went to visit him and said, man, you better turn some heat on it. It's cold. And he walk around like it's nothing. Sure, nothing else we going to stay warm. We have something to eat. Ain't no pork either. At least some deer meat or something. We got something to eat. We got a big old pro out there. She can generate a little heat. She can generate enough power. She's nothing to play with. And the more she turns, the better she turns. Bless you all. Let us stand up. If you send your gifts and offerings here, your tithes, send a gift today. Yahshua's name. Did this bless you today? Send an offering. And all things we do barak are abide Yahshua's name. Bless YisraYah'ale. Heal us all, touch all of us, and give us healing within the depths of our being. We bless you for all things. In Yahshua's mighty name, heal the young ones, the young babies, and the little ones in Yahshua's name. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
You don't know where to go.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
If my people who are called by my name would just humble themselves and pray, seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven and forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. Heal us, Yahweh, and we shall be healed. Save us, Yahweh, Yahweh, and we shall be saved. Heal us, Yahweh, and we shall be healed. Save us, Yahweh, for you are our praise. Yahweh is my strength and my soul, and has become my salvation. I will trust in him and will not be afraid.